we jump in, I want everybody to pause the video and try to understand that everybody right now understand about the tools, whether it's about Excel and Power BI. But very few people understand the literal meaning of any given business problem statement. And fewer than that will be easily able to explain whatever work they have done using those tools, whatever insights they have gained from those specific tools. Today's video is a bit different from the earlier videos because in this video, one of my learner has shared their work, core insights for a Power BI case study. This video will be helpful for all those people who are looking on how shall we explain our work in the interviews, how shall we explain our work to the stakeholders, to the clients. So it's not about you will not see any slides over here, you will not see any theory over here. If you have an idea about Power BI, if you have already watched my previous session on Power BI on my YouTube channel, you will be easily able to understand that how she is trying to understand the problem clearly, and then accordingly she will try to create the visuals corresponding to it. So in this specific video, you will have to pay attention to few important pointers. Number one, how the problem is framed. Number two, why she has chosen a specific visual. There are multiple visuals, there are multiple options we have in Power BI. Why only that specific visual she has chosen? Third, how the insights are communicated. And the fourth, how those business questions are answered using data. Try to watch this video till the very end, and definitely if you will watch the video till the very end and document your learning, try to do this specific thing at your end as well. This is very helpful for you all in terms of cracking multiple interviews in DA domain, because I hope everybody knows for data analytics, Power BI is one of the core demand. So please make sure you will watch the video till the very end. If you like it, please do hit like button. Motivate the learners also in terms of spreading this video to others, right? People will definitely get motivated, and I'll try to come up with these kind of videos as well in future as well. Please make sure you will comment it down once you listen the video, whether you like it, whether you understand it or not. This will help me to understand that whether my learners, my audience on YouTube understand these kind of videos or not. It might be a high level video for few, and it might be a understandable video for few. So I just want to understand my audience as well. Your single comment by just saying thank you or understood actually motivates me and the learner who has shared her work, right? So with that, let's get started.
Hi all, welcome everyone. In this session, we'll be working through a complete Power BI e-commerce case study using a business data. We'll start from raw data, build a clean and effective data model, and then move into analysis that focuses on sales performance, target tracking, customer behavior, and other useful insights. The goal of this case study is to show how Power BI can be used not just for report creation or dashboard, but also how well it can answer the practical business questions and delivering insights that decision makers can actually act on. So let's begin. Before we could dive deep into the analyzing the data, building visuals, and drawing useful insights from it, it is essential to have a good understanding on the business and the data set. This is the dataset that we will be working on with today. And as you see, it is a global e-commerce mobile accessory company data for the year 2023. And this dataset has three tables, namely orders, customers, and sales target table. The order table holds information about the orders like the order ID, customer country, order date and time, order source, sales POC, and order value. The customer table holds information about the customers like the customer ID, customer country, gender, age, and category of the customer. Sales target table, this is one of the most important table. It holds information about the sales POC, sales manager's first name, sales manager's last name, sales team, 2023 target sales. So I would like to give a little more detailed information about the sales target, as we will be using this table most importantly in our analysis in multiple places. So here we see that there are 5 sales teams, namely alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon. So every team has a sales manager and a few sales POCs assigned, probably 3 to 4 sales POC per manager per team. So that's how is the mapping is being done here. And it is important to know that every sales POC is given an individual target, and sum of targets of each sales POC is nothing but the target of the sales manager. By this, what I mean to say is, let's take one sales manager. Let's consider Alexander is one of a sales manager. He has 3 sales POCs under them, and each of these sales POCs have a particular target assigned to them. So when you sum all the targets of each of these sales POC, it is nothing but the target that is actually assigned to the sales manager Alexander for the year 2023. Having this said, I have recorded the details whatever we've discussed under the business overview and dataset overview, which can be revisited for the reference purpose. So moving on, we will be working on the implementation and the data analysis part. So before we begin the analysis of the data, the first task is to import the data into the Power BI desktop. As you know that we have our data in an Excel sheet, we have to import this Excel sheet into a Power BI desktop so that we can do a further analysis. Once we upload the data onto the Power BI, one of the most important step or a pre-check that we have to do is to check the data types of every column. And also we have to check if there are any null values or not. If there are any null values, we need to handle them accordingly. Following which, we have to see if there are any chance or possibility to perform any data transformation. Data transformation, as in, what I mean to say here is transforming the data in a way that it will be easier for our analysis purpose, or in a way that it can improve the usability of the data, or we can use it in a more effective way. For example, if you consider the sales target table, we have sales manager's first name and last name, where we can merge these 2 columns into one as a sales manager name. Thereby we can use this particular column in a more effective way. It will be easier for us to read and understand and also use it across the analysis. And lastly, we need to see how the tables within the data are interconnected. How is the relationship between them, and how is the flow between them? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, or is it unidirectional flow or bidirectional flow? So let's try to analyze this more on a Power BI desktop and through the Power Query editor too. I have already uploaded the data set onto the Power BI desktop. Now let's open this data onto the Power Query editor through this transform data. Yes, so here we see all the 3 tables are getting populated, and just a small information, I have also enabled the column profile. So this column profile gives detailed information of every column that we select. So for example, if I click on customer ID, it gives the column statistics, the details about the columns, the count, the number of distinct values, number of unique values, number of empty cells. It gives all a holistic view of the particular column. So in customers table, the customer ID, we will check the data type of the customer ID, which is nothing but a whole number. And we also see that there are no empty cells in the customer ID column. The customer country is again of a right data type, which is text, and there are no null values or missing values. Gender is again of type text and no missing values. Age is also of type text, and it's all populated, no missing values, and category is also of type text, and we see there are no missing values too. Moving to the next table is a sales POC. Sales POC is of type text, and the column statistics also looks good. Sales manager first name is of type text. The last name of the manager is also of type text. Sales team data type is text, and 2023 sales target is of type whole number. Now, well, we have a task to do here where we need to merge the sales manager's first name and last name into one single column. So for that, what we can do is we will select both the columns together and go to transform tab where we have merge columns. I'm merging these two columns via a separator, that is the space, and I'm giving a new column name which is nothing but the manager's name, sales manager name. I hope now you can see the change and the difference. So we had two columns for the sales manager's name, like first name and last name. Now we've merged it into one column called sales manager name. Moving to the next table, that is the orders table. The order ID is of type whole number. Customer ID is of type whole number. Customer country is of type text. Order date and time is of type date and time. Order source is of type text, but however we get to see some empty values. You see empty value, there are 8 empty values for the order source, so we need to deal with them. The sales POC is of type text. Order value is of type whole number. So I think, and there are no missing values in the other columns also, as we saw. The missing column is noticed only in order source. So as we see, order source is a categorical data. And to handle the missing values in categorical data, we cannot go with mean or median imputation. We have to go with the mode imputation. Mode imputation is nothing but you are replacing a null value or a missing value with a category that has been appeared the highest number of times, where the frequency of a particular category is more. So in this distribution, if we see website, WhatsApp, other, and app, these are the four mediums through which customers can place the order. But out of these four, we see website has the highest number. Like a lot of people prefer placing their orders through website. The frequency is the highest for the website. So we can replace the missing values with the website. To replace the missing values, what we can do is we'll go to replace values. Value to find is null. But we can actually see the null values before that. So as you see here, we have a null value. So we have 8 rows where the order source is not recorded, it is marked as null. So we need to replace this null value. So for which we will be replacing it with the value called website. We will replace null to website. Now, since we've done that, we will again cross-check the column profile and also check in the filters if the null value exists or not. Now, if you see, before the empty had 8 values assigned to it, but now it is 0. However, if we try to check on the filters, load more, there are no cells with value null. So it means the missing value has been replaced. Now, since we've checked on the data type and the missing values, now we will close and load this back to the Power BI desktop. So now I think the changes are also visible here. You can see that we don't have sales manager's first name and last name. Rather, we have only the sales manager's name. And also in orders, let's check for the order source if there are any null values. No, there are no null values. It's all being populated now. Having this discussed, our next step is to analyze and understand the relationship between these three tables. So to understand the relationship and how the flow is across these tables, we will go into this model view section. This is a model view section. So here we can understand and analyze how the tables are interrelated to each other and how the flow is happening. Here we see the sales target table, orders table, and customer table. In sales target table and an orders table, we see that the sales POC is a field that is common in both. Sales POC is a field that is common in both. However, when it comes to the orders and customer table, it is the customer ID that is common in both. And you see it is one to many relationship that is coming, like even like both from sales target to orders and customers to orders table, it is one to many relationship, and the flow is unidirectional. The relationship is okay as one to many, but we need the direction to be a bidirectional, because in our analysis we will be working with the data to and fro, so the communication should happen between both the tables front and back. So what we will try to do is we will try to change the flow between the two tables to be bidirectional in case of the sales target and orders and customers and orders. I'll just select this, go to manage relationship. I will select, we see that the status between the relationship status between the tables are active. I'll click here, I'll go to edit. This is cross filter direction is actually the way how the communication is going. Is it in single direction or bidirectional? To make it bidirectional, we have to select on both, click on save. I hope you can make the difference. You see, if when it was a single direction, we were able to see only one arrow, but the moment we changed it into bidirectional, we have two arrow marks. So this is another way of representing that the flow is bidirectional. So we will also change the flow for orders and sales target table. Alright, so now the data can flow front and back from both the tables, that is from sales target to orders or from customers to orders table. Having the initial steps discussed, we will now start our discussion on the data analysis phase. We have defined a couple of problem statements here and built a solution for the same in Power BI. We will go through each of these problem statements one by one and explain how it has been addressed using the visuals. Let's begin with target performance analysis at different levels in the sales team. Firstly, it is the sales POC target achievement classification that we'll be analyzing, where we will be classifying the sales POCs into three clear categories or buckets based on the actual sales that is being done by the salesperson versus the target that is set by the company on each salesperson. And the three buckets that we create are target not met, and target exceeded. So this is the visual that we put up for the problem statement, but before we get into the visual, there are a couple of calculations that we need to do, and then we will get into the visuals. So this is a sales target table. Now we have to create three buckets based on the performance or achievement that each sales POC has done. So to create the bucket, we have to have data or information about the sales that every salesperson has achieved. However, we have the information of the target that is set by the company on the sales POC under the column 2023 sales target. To get the actual sales that each sales POC is achieved, we need to calculate it. For that, we have created a calculated column called sales by each POC, where we sum the order value from the orders table, and we are filtering it by equating the sales POC value from the orders table and the sales target table. So the reason we're doing this is, as we know, the orders table and the sales target table are interrelated to each other through a common column called sales POC, and the sales target table also has a column called order value. So the moment we sum up the order value by comparing the values of sales POC across the two tables, that is the orders and sales target table, we get the information about the sales that is achieved by each POC. Having the sales by each POC in place, now it is easier for us to create the bucket based on a problem statement. So for that, we have created another new column called bucket, and we've used a conditional statement, the if conditional statement, where we will be comparing the actual sales by each POC versus the target that is set by the company, and accordingly we will create the buckets. So here we are comparing if the sales by each POC is less than the target that is set by the company, it means that the target is not met. However, if the sales by each POC is greater than the target that is set, it means it has exceeded the target. And if the sales by the POC is equal to the target set, which means that the target is met. So accordingly, we have created this bucket. And now, since that we have these buckets in place, it is easier to plot it in a graph and visualize them. So this is the visual that we've taken. This is a clustered column chart, where on x-axis I've taken the details of the bucket, and on the y-axis I've taken this value of count of sales by each POC. So this gives us a clear distinction of number of sales POC who has achieved the target, who has not achieved the target, or who has exceeded the target. However, we get to see only two categories here, that is the target not met category and exceeded target sale category. So by which we can understand that there is no salesperson who has exactly met the target that is set by the company. It's either more or either less, either it's exceeded the target or not met. And we see that the count of the salesperson who has not met the target is more compared to those who have exceeded the target. So this gives us an analysis of the underperformers and achievers, and it also helps us in focusing more on why the performance is less for these people where the target is not met. And the reason why I've chosen a clustered column chart here is because, as we know, the number of categories here are too less, and plotting this on a column chart would not occupy much space on a report or on a dashboard. So that's why we've taken a column chart. However, if we have a number of categories, more number of categories, and if we try plotting them in a column chart, it would occupy the entire width of the report or the dashboard. So that's why as the number of categories are less here, I've taken a column chart. Else we can go with a bar chart. Moving to the next problem statement. Here we will be discussing about the sales team target distribution, where we will aggregate the target sales team level, where we will aggregate the target value, basically the target that is set by the company on the sales team level, to compare the target distribution across the teams. So this is the visual where we've taken a clustered bar chart, and on y-axis I've taken the sales team details. As we know, there are 5 sales teams: alpha, beta, gamma, and delta, and epsilon. And on x-axis I've taken the sum of 2023 sales target that is set by the company. So we get the sum of the target set by the company across all the teams. And as we see here, there are there are more number of categories here. So plotting this on a column chart would take a lot more space. So that's the reason we've taken a clustered bar chart where it'll be more confined in a report view and in a dashboard view. Coming to the analysis, we see that the alpha team has the highest target set by the company, followed by beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon. So this gives us an overview of which team has the highest pressure, which is the most critical team, and how crucial it is for them to achieve the target that is set by the company. Moving to the next problem statement, we will be discussing about the sales manager achievement analysis, where we will try to identify the sales manager who has the highest target assigned by the company, and we will evaluate if these managers have met the target or not, if they have successfully achieved the target that is set by the company or not. And this is the chart that we've pulled up. This is again a clustered bar chart where on y-axis we've taken the sales manager's name. Yeah, as we know, there are a lot of sales managers included in the data. So taking a column chart would occupy the entire width of the graph, entire width of the report or the dashboard. So we are going with a clustered bar chart. So on y-axis, it's a sales manager name that we've taken, and on x-axis, we've taken two values. One is the target that is set, that is the sum of target that is set by the company for every sales manager, followed by the sum of sales by each POC. So as we saw in our data set overview, we had discussed that the target or the sales that is achieved by the sales POC is nothing but the target or the sales that is achieved by the sales manager too. So that is why we are taking the sum of sales by each POC here. And as we want to see that manager who has the highest target set by the company, we have applied a filter here. The filter here is on the sales manager. The filter type that we've used is top n, which means I want to see the top, and the number that I've used is 1. So I want to see the top first sales manager name where the highest target is assigned by the company to them. And by value is nothing but the sum of 2023 sales target. This is nothing but the target set by the company. On applying this filter, we see that the complete graph is reduced to two manager names. You know, it's filtered down. So that's why we get to see two manager names, where they have the highest target achieved by the company. The blue bar represents the target that is set by the company, and yellow bar represents the sales that is actually being achieved by the managers. So we see that the target that is set by the company is 1.30 million for both Benjamin and Noah. However, we see that Benjamin has not achieved the target that is set, and Noah has achieved the target. Actually, she's exceeded the target that is set. So completing this analysis, we'll move to our next analysis where we will be analyzing the sales manager shortfall analysis for the missed target and percentage achieved by each sales manager. Which actually means that we are trying to analyze the performance of all the sales managers by comparing the average target sales that is set by the company to them versus the average of actual target that they have achieved. And following which we will also see what is the percentage of target that each sales manager has achieved. So for this we need to gather two information. One is not two, probably three information. Average of the target set by the company on the sales manager. Second one is the average sales that is achieved by the sales manager. And lastly, what is the percentage of target that they have completed. So to do this, I have created a subset table of the actual table. So let's just have a quick view of that. So we know the sales target table is our original table From here, I've created a subset table called sales manager target. So here I've created a subset of the table. As we see, this is a sales manager target. This is a table name where I'm trying to summarize the information from the sales target. This is a source table name. I've given sales target, and I am grouping by the sales manager as we need to do our analysis on this particular problem statement all around the sales manager. So I'm grouping by the sales manager, and the name of the column that I'm trying to calculate here is target for the sales manager. This target is nothing but the target that is set by the company for the sales manager, and I'm doing a summation of the 2023 sales target column from the sales target table. So this gives the total target that is set for each sales manager. Similarly, I'm creating another column called target achieved by sales manager, and I'm summing up the sales by each POC. So the sales achieved by each POC is nothing but the sales achieved by the sales manager. So this gives the achievement, and this gives the information about the target that is set by the company. However, now to see the percentage of target that is reached by sales manager, I've created another calculated column where we will be calculating the percentage. So here we have taken the target achieved by sales manager, multiplying it by 100 as it is a percentage, and I'm dividing it by the target that is set for the sales manager. So this gives us a percentage of how much they have reached the milestone based on their achievement. Getting back to the plot, here we have taken a it's a line come clustered column chart. As we are analyzing three different values, I've taken a line clustered column chart where in x-axis it is the manager's name, and in y-axis we are taking two values. One is the average of the target sales, which is basically the average of target set by the company, followed by average of the target that is achieved by the sales manager, and the blue line, the trend line that you get to see, is nothing but the percentage of target that is achieved by the sales manager. So this gives a holistic view of how the performance is there, or how is the performance of the sales manager, and what is the achievement, where are they in the milestone. Like percentage wise, you get to see that. Having discussed all this, all these four visuals, we see that there is a lot of target that is not met by the sales manager or the sales POC, or basically by the sales team. There is a lot of area where the target is not achieved by the employees. So to get a overview or a bigger picture of what is the value of target that is not met, or how much are we falling short on, I have created this particular card, where this card gives us an information on a bigger picture as what is the average sales that is not met, and what is the actual shortage. This is the actual target that is set by the company where it is not met, and this is a shortage of how much back are we there in the track. So it gives that information. So let's get into the calculation of how we got these figures here. So this is basically a card visual I've used, and we'll see how these two numbers are getting populated. So for that, I've created a measure. So this is an average expected sale measure where I'm calculating the actual average of the actual target that is set by the company, and for which bucket we are analyzing the area where the target is not met. Wherever the target is met or is exceeded is okay. That is not our area of concern because it is already reached this milestone. Now we are focusing on our drawbacks or our flaws. So that's why we are taking filtering it based on the target not met. So under the target not met bucket, this is the total target that is set by the company, and we are taking an average of that total target. So that gives a value of 131.09K. And the next measure, average sales shortage. To do this, we have first created another column. I will show you that column. So this is the sales shortage. In sales or shortage column that we have created, so here what we have done is uh, we have we have actually found the difference between the target set by the company, that is 2023 sales target, and the sales by each POC. If the value is positive, it means that the target is met, or if it has been exceeded, then the target has been exceeded from what the company has said. However, wherever we see the negative values, it means it's a shortfall. The target is not met and we are falling behind by this much value. So this is the sales shortage value that we have calculated, and we will see in the measure how we have used this up. So in average sales shortage, we are again calculating the average of the sales shortage from the sales target table. And again, the bucket area of focus is where the target is not met. So this gives a value of minus 21.70K. So this is the actual in under the bucket of target not met. This is the average target sales that is set by the company, and we are falling short by this value. And to analyze it across the different teams, I've added a slicer for the sales team where we can see how the performance is across each team. So considering alpha, we get to see all the details. It is an interactive interactive report. So we get to see the results of each team, as in when we click on these filters or the slicer that we've set up for the sales team. So this is the performance, like how much is the target met and target not met for the alpha team, what is the total target that is set by the company, and what is the manager's name who set the highest target in the alpha team, and if he or she has achieved the target or not. And this is the comparison between the average target set and average target achieved by the sales manager in the alpha team. And this is again what is the average value of the target not met bucket and how much short are we falling behind. So this gives an overall view of the alpha team, and accordingly we can choose the team for our analysis based on our requirement. Until now, we have been discussing on the sales team performance based on the target achievement that is set to them by the company versus the actual target that the sales team has achieved. Moving forward, we will be discussing on other problem statements and analysis. Here, we will be analyzing the performance of the sales manager across different countries on different aspects. So, to under this, we will be analyzing the performance of the sales manager across different countries based on the sales value. So here, coming to the visual, this is a visual that we pulled up for this particular problem statement, which is a matrix visual. As our analysis is based on the sales value against the different countries and all the sales manager, we've taken up this matrix where the rows represent the country names and the column represent the sales manager names. And the values that are filled in here is the sales value that is achieved by the sales manager for every country correspondingly. This visual helps in highlighting the revenue driving regions and the top performing leadership, like the sales manager who's been performing the best, and in which country his performance is the best, and where should be his area of focus to improve. So all such useful insights we can draw from this particular visual. Going forward, the next analysis is based on the orders and the customer volume based performance for the sales manager across the different countries. For that, we have pulled up this particular clustered bar chart where we've taken the name of the sales manager on y-axis, and on x-axis we've taken the count of order ID and count of customer. But there is one small difference in the count of customer ID. So as we all know, in any business firm, given a customer can place n number of orders. Basically, a customer can have one order, 10 order, or even 100 orders. So in this analysis, what we have done is we've taken a distinct count of the customer ID. However, the count of order ID is as it is. So through this, we can analyze that how the customers and the customer's order volume has been handled by the sales managers. So this gives a holistic view of how sales managers' performance impact beyond the monetary value alone. And we have also given a slicer here for the country based on the customer country region. So this helps in performing the analysis as how the customers orders has been handled by the sales manager across different countries. For example, when I choose Australia, I get the details of the Australian region, where what are the list of managers and how they have been handling the customers orders and their IDs. I mean, how they have been handling the customers and their orders. Sorry. Going forward, the next analysis or the problem statement is around the order trend and seasonality analysis. As we know, and as we have discussed in the beginning of our session, that the data set has been curated for the year 2023. So in order trend and seasonality analysis, we would like to analyze how the sales has been made, how the orders have been made across the entire year of 2023, how the orders have been placed on different durations. By this, we can draw some useful insights like during which period of the year the sales was the maximum, or during which period of the year the sales was the minimum. Getting on to the visual of this problem statement, this is a visual that we pulled out. This is a clustered column. This is a line cum clustered column chart, where on x-axis we've taken the order date and time, where since it's order date and time, it has its own hierarchy like year, month, and year, month, quarter, and date. So here we've taken a month-wise analysis, and on y-axis we've taken the count of order ID. By taking the count of order ID, we get the number of orders that we've received for every month. So if you see, for January, we have received 217 orders. For February, we received 220 orders. And accordingly, the number of orders we've received across all the months of the year 2023 is being recorded by these bars. Now, to see what is the value of the order placed, we have used this line chart. What I mean to say is, out of this 217 orders that is placed in January, has generated a sales of 1053K. So this is the amount that is being raised by placing 217 orders. So similarly, by looking at this chart, we get to see how the trends have been changing, or what's the variation in trend across different months of the year. And we get to see that the sales has been peaked for the year, for the month November of the year 2023, and it has hit the lowest on September. So what we can do is, based on this analysis, we can plan the inventory accordingly, or we can source the products accordingly and stock it up in our areas to during the regions where the sales is more, so that we don't run out of stocks, and we can have the products always in hand with us whenever the orders comes in during the peak periods of the month like November. And we can also perform an analysis of why the sales is being very less for the month of September, and we can focus on how we can improve the sales on this particular month, probably by giving additional discounts or additional perks to the customer, so that the orders can increase, the sales value can increase, and also the revenue for the company would be higher. Going forward, we will analyze and perform our analysis on the country-wise order volume and average order volume. So we will be using geographical visuals here, where we will be comparing the countries based on both the order count and average order value. Yes. So this is a visual that we put up. This is a map visual that we've taken. So to plot a map visual, we should basically have the name of the countries or states or cities. So basically, as we know, in our orders table, we have a column, a field called customer country. But before we could map, it is very essential for us to change the category of to change the data category of the customer country. So we have to have the data category of the customer country to be country or region to have the visual plotted on a map. So once that is done, here what we have done is we've taken a map visual and taken the customer country as a location, and we've taken the order value, average of order value of the customer as a bubble size. So if you see the bubble size, we've taken average of the customer's order value. So this gives a holistic view of what is the average value across different countries by the orders that has been placed by the customers. So here the bubble, based on the bubble size, we get an understanding of if the value is higher or lower. Smaller the bubble size, the value is lower. Higher the bubble size, the value is higher. So here, since we've taken the average, the value of these bubbles ranges somewhere between 4,000 to 5,000. So the bubble size looks almost very similar. We are not able to differentiate it because the range is between 4,000 to 5,000. It's all very close. There'll be small variations in the bubble size. However, moving to the analysis of count of order ID by the customer country. Here again, in this map, we've taken the customer country as a location and count of the order ID as a bubble size. And this gives a clear differentiation of how the bubble size is varying and how is the count of order ID. So order ID represents the number of orders that is being placed in that particular country. So we see this is one of the very small bubble where in Ireland there are only 20 orders placed. However, this is one of the biggest bubble where in USA there are 888 orders placed. So we get this kind of insights like which country has contributed more to the sales of the product, or which company has more, which country has more demand for a particular product. So we can draw such useful insights on such visuals. Moving ahead, we will be discussing on the customer engagement gap analysis. Customer engagement gap analysis nothing means that we are trying to analyze what is that percentage of customers who have not placed orders for the year 2023. And this helps us in understanding or digging more into why they have not placed orders and how we can re-engage them into the business by making them place orders and how we can attract them for this particular duration. So for this, there are some calculations which we need to do before we get into the visuals. So we will first go have a look on the calculations and then get back to the visuals. So this is our customer tables. Irrespective of the customer has placed an order or not, we will have all the details of the customer in the customer table. Now, we know that customer table and orders table are interrelated to each other with a common field called customer ID. So, for those customer IDs that appear in the orders table, it means that there is an order being placed by this particular customer ID. If the customer ID from the customer table doesn't reflect in the orders table, it means that particular customer has not placed an order. Now, since that we want to calculate the percentage of customers who have not placed orders, we will create a new column called customers who did not order. And here, since the two tables are connected internally and there's an active connection between the customers and orders, we are using the related table function, where I'm using related table functions from and the relationship is between the orders and the customer table. So I'm picking up the orders table and I'm counting the rows counting the rows from the orders table. So doing this will actually count the number of orders placed by a customer. So if the number of order placed by a customer is 0, it means that particular customer has not placed an order itself. So I want the value to return 1 as we have used an if condition. If the customer has placed an order, then I want it to return a value 0. It's basically like a binary result. So customers whoever did not place an order will return 1 and who has placed an order will return 0. So these are the two values that are being populated. Now, since that we want to calculate the percentage of customers who has not placed an order, I've created another measure called percentage of customers who did not order. So, as we know, when we're calculating the percentage, in numerator, we take the value of customers who did not order. So here we are summing up. As we know, I'm using a divide function and I'm trying to calculate the numerator part of the division operation where I'm summing up the count of customers who did not order. And in the denominator part, I'm trying to take the total number of customers that are available for this particular business or for this particular e-commerce company. So in the denominator, I'm calculating the total row count of the customers table and I'm multiplying it by 100 as it is a percentage. Now, getting back to the visual, I've taken this funnel chart where I've taken the categories. Okay, one more thing I missed to mention. We are analyzing this percentage of customers who did not order, where we are segmenting them by the category and gender. So we are analyzing the percentage of customers who've not ordered on the basis of the customer category and on the basis of the gender. So this is on the basis of the customer category. Here I've taken the category as or the customer category as one of the category for the funnel chart, and the values are nothing but the percentage of customers that who has not placed any orders, the measure that we basically calculated some time back. So we see that from this visual, we get a good representation of those people who've not placed any orders, the percentage of people who've not placed any orders. So basically in category E, we see 100%. That means like there are not even one customer in category E who's placed an order. And following which, we get the count in the decreasing percentage of people who've not placed order category wise. And why we've used funnel chart is that it gives a good linear representation and it gives insights in a decreasing order, just like we get to see like in category E, not even one customer has placed an order. That means 100% of people have not placed an order. In category C, there are 30.40% who have not placed an order, following which category A, B, and finally comes a category D. Here we have given another tabular kind of a representation to have a good visuals on the numbers. So this is basically a matrix visual that I've pulled out where the categories are a part of the rows and the gender is a part of the columns, and I've pulled up the percentage of customers who've not placed the order as values here. So this gives the count of, not count, rather I would say the percentage of people who've not placed an order, which is categorized by gender and the customer category. Now, moving to the visuals of percentage of customer who's not placed an order on the basis of the gender. This is a visual where we pulled out a clustered column chart where in x-axis we have the customer category and in y-axis it is nothing but the percentage of customers who did not place any order, and the legend we've used here is the gender. So this gives a categorization of which gender has not placed the most orders. The yellow bars represent the female and the blue bar represents the male, and we see that on a overall view, uh, uh, the male customers have not placed much orders compared to the female customers. So this is another useful insight which we get, and we can further dig deep into it to understand why we observe this pattern and how we can improve the sales targeting this particular category. Ahead with our next problem statement, we will be analyzing the country-wise order source preferences, which is nothing but we try to analyze which source of ordering is most preferred by the customers across different countries. For this, we have pulled up a 100% clustered column chart here, where on x-axis we have given the customer country and on y-axis it is the count of customer ID. The ledger that we've chosen here is nothing but the order source, where there are different sources through which customers can place the order for the products, namely application, website, WhatsApp, and other sources. So here, the reason why we've chosen a 100% stack column chart is because we get to see the distribution of each of these categories out of 100%. So for example, if you consider Indian country, in India, most of the orders for the particular product has been placed via application, as it contributes 26.24% out of the 100%, where this is the highest number compared to placing the order with respect to the other sources. So by this way, we can focus on uh, the sources through which customers place orders. So since in India people are placing more orders through the application, we can focus on how we can improvise the user interface for the application, how we can provide them good services through the application. On such areas we can focus and improve our sales. Moving ahead, we will dig deeper a bit into the customer category. We will do a little more deeper analysis on the customer category and draw some useful insights from them. Firstly, what we will do is the analysis on the Indian male customer concentration. So, what is the volume of Indian male customers across different categories? So, for that, we have pulled up this particular column chart where on x-axis we've taken the customer category and y-axis we have taken the count of customer ID. Since the area of focus is on Indian male customers, we have applied two filters over here. One filter is on the country where customer country where we've chosen only India, and the second filter is on the gender where we have applied on the male customers. So this actually gives the concentration of the male customers for India across different categories, and we see that there are more number of male customers in category A, then comes category B, and then comes category C. However, category E and D are not displayed, which means that there are no male customers, Indian male customers in those two categories. Going forward, the next is the age profile analysis. Here we try to identify the average age in every category of the customer to identify who will be the youngest segment or who will be the target segment to advertise our products or to make a reach to the products. For which here we have taken a line chart where the customer category is taken on x-axis and average age of the customers have taken on the y-axis. And here the numbers that we get to see is the average of the customer's age across all the different categories. So we can consider people belonging to in and around this age group will be our targets, where we can advertise our products or where we can promote our products to. Going forward, revenue contribution by category. This is one of the important insight that we need to draw, where we will try to analyze which category of customer contribute a lot to the revenue of the company or to the sales of a particular product. So to get details about that, here on y-axis we take the customer category and x-axis we take the sum of orders. Since we want the highest revenue generating group of customers, we have sorted this by the axis, where in sorting we've chosen the descending order, so that we'll get the highest revenue contributing group of customers onto the top, followed by the others. So here we see that customers belonging to category D contribute a lot to the sales of the products. Next is the sales POC concentration analysis for the Delta team. So here we try to understand, or we try to figure out what is the number of sales POCs who belong to who belong to Delta team. What is the number of the sales POCs belonging to Delta team are distributed across different categories of customers. So we've taken a similar chart, just like the chart similar to the previous visual. On y-axis we've taken the category, customer category, and on x-axis we've taken the count of sales POC. As we want the number of sales POCs from the Delta team, we have applied a filter here, where in filter we have chosen the sales team as a filter and chosen only Delta team. However, we can also add a slicer where we can choose any of the team that we want to view and draw some useful insights. But here we applied filters only for the Delta team, as that was the ask for. And we also noticed that the number of sales POCs from Delta team across all the categories are same. There are 12 Delta team members across all the customer categories. Next, we will be working on executive sales target report. So here we try to build a dedicated executive level report or a dashboard. It includes KPI cards for actual sales versus the target sales, along with some dynamic slicers for sales POCs, sales manager, and sales team. The main purpose of having this KPI created is because this allows the leadership or top management people to monitor the performance at multiple levels in real time. So getting onto this visual, this is the card that has been created. This is basically a KPI. As we all know, KPI is a key performance indicator. It is a quantifiable measure which is used to evaluate the organization's success in achieving its business objective. So with respect to our scenario or our case study, the business objective is to meet the target sales that is set by the customer by the sales team, sales manager, and the sales POCs. So now we need to find out or identify if the target set by the company is being achieved by the employees or not. So for that, before we get into the visual, there are two measures that we actually created for this. So let's look onto those two measures and then get back to this visual. As we know, in our previous analysis, we have created a subset of the sales target table called sales manager target. So here we have already gathered the information and curated all the target that is set for the sales manager along with the actual sales that is achieved by the sales manager. So on the basis of that, we've calculated the average of the target that is set. This is a measure. Target sales is a measure that we created, where we are taking the average of the target that is set for the sales manager by the company, and actual sales is another measure where we are calculating the average of the actual sales achieved by the sales manager. Having said this, we will now see the performance on a bigger picture of the company, where we've taken a card as one of the visual here, where in card we have taken the value as actual sales, where we've calculated the average of actual sales of the sales manager, and target as the target sales of the sales manager that is set by the company. It's an average target again which we calculated. And in trend axis, we've taken the order date and time. So here is the value, here is the trend axis, and here is a target. So what insights we gain from this particular visual is that the goal set by the company is to reach this amount of sales, that is 450K. This is the sales that the employees have to meet. But where are we currently in the milestone? We have currently achieved a sales of 352.21K. However, the difference is small. We are still falling back from the expected target. And what is the percentage of difference is nothing but we are falling short by 21.73%. Now, to have a more detailed insights, we've added some slicers here. Slicers based on order date and time, slicers based on the sales POC, sales manager, and sales team. So accordingly, we can view and identify how each team or each sales manager or even each salesperson is performing on a day-to-day basis, probably on based on the order date and time. So for example, here if you click on alpha, so the alpha team is actually meeting up the sales target where they're actually beyond the expected sales target. The goal that is set to alpha team is 1.30 million. However, they are at 1.4 where they are ahead of target. When you go to beta, it is the other way around. The goal set for them is 450K, but however they're falling short with 352.21K. This is their current milestone and they're falling short by 21.73%. So this kind of analysis and insights we can get, and we can also use these dynamic slicers or filters for a better insights. And here we have added another card which gives the information about the actual average of the actual target and average of the actual sales we have achieved. So so this is on a this is a KPI basically. This is just a card that we put up to show the values and numbers. Moving to the last step of an analysis is the report Q&A interactivity analytics feature. So here we try to build a visual, yeah, you can say it a visual where we will put up a Q&A kind of a visual where the users can ask questions in natural language and instantly we will get the answers in form of a visuals. Visuals as in not in terms of charts but in terms of figures and numbers. So this is the visual that I was talking about. It's a Q&A visual where we'll find it here. This is a Q&A visual that we put up here. Just to give a demo, I have added another Q&A visual here and I've asked a question as what is the average of the target for sales manager? So the average target set by the company for the sales manager. So the moment you ask this question to the visual, it'll immediately grab information from the data set and it will give you the value. And it also says this is an average of target for sales manager. So any question that can be asked in natural language, it becomes more easier for users to interact with the data set which is behind. So with this, we come to the end of our analysis through the Power BI. Thank you for watching and I hope these insights were useful and added valuable information to you all. Thank you.